If you've been watching my channel lately, then you know I've been going back and looking at the old MCU phase 1 through 3, checking out some of that stuff, how they compare to the stuff now, and from when I first watched them years ago. And yeah, at some point I will try to check out some of MCU phase 4 and see what I think, 'cause I did not watch all of it, just a few little movies there. Was not very pleased, and so I'm going back and seeing how they are. Last time I did Captain America. This time I'm doing Captain America Winter Soldier, even though I actually watched Winter Soldier and then I watched Captain America again in the opposite order. So, Winter Soldier was referred to and still is today as pretty much like one of the best or one of the peak MCU films going back. And when I watched it for the first time, I agreed, definitely. And watching it this time, like, it's kind of tricky for me because I enjoy the hell out of this film. I really enjoy this film. But there are a lot of things in it that make me go, hmm. I would probably be critical of a lot of this stuff right here that's happening, like the way that it happens, like easily, when I forget the guy's name, so I'm just gonna call him Bones because I thought he was supposed to be Crossbones or something. I forget specifically, but the Shield agent that they're chasing, the ex Shield agent that was Hydra and everything, and he's got the little sort of souped up, punchy suit and whatnot. Black Widow, yeah, she gets she should have been killed in a lot of that stuff, especially when the grenade goes off right in front of her. That kind of stuff should have probably gotten her later on when she's being shot at. Like a lot of stuff that probably should hit you, I suppose, based on where you were and everything. But that's okay, I suppose. There's a lot of parts where Cap is getting shot at by like a freaking minigun and everything. He's getting shot at big time, and he's able to block it or they miss. He's able to block it with the shield or they miss, and it's like you have legs. They could just go and you're toast. I'm sure most people have had that criticism as well because it's like it's almost eye rolly obvious that it's like you it's hard for me to get into that type of an action scene when there's so many spots that are like you probably should have been killed or at least injured here. They could have done more damage to you, but the plot of the movie protected you so that you weren't damaged at this point. Now later, of course, they get really good in the end. Oh man, I'm jumping all around on this one. I guess I'll start somewhat at the beginning and then try to go around. Though I'm not going to go all the way through it like I did with the last one. Even though I did kind of speed run that toward halfway through as I was going there. The opening bits are fine, I guess. They go onto the boat, and at first I was extremely confused on what they did. Even after I watched the movie the first time, I was like, "What the hell was the point of some of that?" I was a little confused on how some of that was supposed to work and why, and because they were trying to make Fury look like he was the bad guy, but he wasn't, and then Sitwell was one of Hydra, and so was the other. Like I was getting a little confused here and there. And I also thought that the guy that they have in this one thought that Alexander Pierce was also Gideon Malik for some reason. I thought that this guy, that Alexander Pierce, was the same guy in the Avengers film that was like the main guy, like talking to Fury, like that seemed to be the clear guy that's above Fury or at least equal or something. I thought that Pierce was that guy, but no, 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 no. Agents of Shield has that guy from Avengers come back into the show in season 3, and there's a lot of good. Agents of Shield is a weird show, and not every episode is good, and not every character is pretty good. I mean, of course, that's how it is with most shows, but like what I'm saying is that there are a lot more good golden nuggets than you would think. If there could be like a super cut of the show that cuts out some of the slack, some of the not as necessary character stuff, and things with the plots that happen that little somewhat not needed. Like I think that the show would be received a little bit better because there's a lot of good stuff in that show, and they do quite a bit with it, and they go more into Hydra's history and everything in that show as well, which I think makes sense and goes into the Inhumans, which did far better than the Inhumans show. So just saying, a little tangent there. But I only mention all that because Winter Soldier is the film that pretty much kicked off the Agents of Shield and how much better it got, because a lot of people were kind of bored with Agents of Shield in its first few episodes, but once they get to the Hydra is part of Shield, the show got really fucking interesting, and that even surprised the makers of the show. They were like, "Fuck, Hydra's in Shield. Our show is called Agents of Shield. What are you doing?" The show got extremely better after the Hydra part was revealed, because a lot of things were a lot more unpredictable. You didn't know what the hell is going to happen next in the show. Who can you trust? What not? Like, that was a good element to add to the show that made it far more interesting. But anyway, back to Winter Soldier. In the beginning, there was a at the boat. What was there? There was some guy, I forget his name, that seemed to be somewhat super serumed up, but I kind of had the impression that he was not enhanced at all. I thought he was just like a really, really good fighter, kind of like Black Widow. But there are things on rewatch that imply that he might be a little bit enhanced in some way, shape, or form, some kind of a boost in strength or adrenaline or something, because the way he's able to, fist fight with Captain America, who is definitely super soldier serumed up. It's like, dude, you gotta, if you can take a punch from him like that, you've got to be supered up in some way, shape, or form, because there's other people that he punches and they go clear across the freaking room. So, yeah, something's going on there. And throughout all of this, we've got great banter with Cap and Natasha, of course. He's trying to find a girlfriend, maybe. He's trying to, get to know people. At the very beginning of the film, I kind of forgot the order for a sec. But yeah, Falcon is running around. Sam Wilson, he's doing some jogging in the morning, but so is Captain America. And Captain America keeps on lapping him. And these two kind of get like a cool little tiny little friendship going. And I was like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. And you see that Cap's like got a little note journal trying to keep track of he's writing down notes of things to check out, because he's got a to-do list of stuff he's got to check out now. He's got a lot to catch up on, a lot of movies and music that he missed, and events and locations and stuff. So he's got a lot of things on his list to do while also being agent of Shield. And what I like in this as well, I mean, most people, this is one of the main things with it, is that Captain America's arc is probably one of the most interesting, as along with Tony Stark's with Iron Man, because they held these different views. Like when Captain America got out of the ice, he essentially is like, okay, well, I'm just going to work with the military like before. I'm going to work with the government, do what they say, because that's what I did back then. And the villains were black and white. I can easily tell who's the bad guy. But then in Winter Soldier, it really became, well, thanks to the Avengers as well, when they saw that S.H.I.E.L.D. was making Hydra weapons, which were the things he was fighting against in World War II. That's what the enemies were doing. That's what Hydra was doing. And, it becomes a little more clear that sometimes the people that you work for can also be a little sketchy. They were going to nuke New York. They're gonna nuke New York. Like, Cap is like, what the hell is this shit? And so when there's all these secrets, like, Natasha had a second mission on that boat. He's a little pissed about that. And Fury is, telling him about, there's secrets, and we're working on this helicarrier thing that's gonna be able to neutralize threats before they happen. He's like, judgment comes after the crime. Like, what are you freaking doing? Like, there's a lot more nuance, and there's a lot more issues to deal with this. And I really do like how they presented Cap's view on like following authority and keeping secrets, telling the truth, becomes extremely challenged in this film. And so like I've seen Mahler and them, like they've talked about Winter Soldier a little bit here and there, not like a full on breakdown, but like they've talked about it, and that it's not as great of a movie as everybody says. There's a lot of things in it that don't make a lot of sense and that damage the characters a bit. But like I can see some of that stuff, but I gotta admit, Winter Soldier is one of those films that I still really freaking enjoy. At the end of the day, like even with the problems pointed out, it's like, well, it's still pretty good though. I don't know, just compared to what we get still these days, there's a lot of things in there that is done well, or at least it's trying to be done well. The little elevator fight scene, of course, everybody loves that scene. He gets in there and it just fills in slowly with more and more agents, and he notices like some people have their hands like on their weapons, sort of, that they're ready. A couple of the guys are sweating, and it's just kind of like, okay, he's like completely surrounded in this thing, and he's like, so before we get started, anybody want to get out? And it's like, oh. And I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you're trying to take down Captain America, the super soldier hero from all this stuff, and you're just a whole bunch of agents. Like how good is your skill against his strength and his talent and his ability and his experience? He fought aliens before this point, and you guys are gonna try to fight him. Like, that's gonna be a tough one. That's gonna be a tough one. Winter Soldier is another one of those films. As I'm watching these Marvel films, like I could do just a full on scene breakdown of each one, and you try to pick out its compliments and things that it doesn't do well. And I could be here for like over an hour talking about all this stuff. But like I said, I am trying to keep these kind of short because, like, I don't want to just ramble about them for so long, because I don't even know if that many people are wanting to hear an entire breakdown like that this late into the MCU right now. It's just like, it seems like MCU's steam has been pretty much lost for the most part, but I do hope that some people will, like, look back on some of the older stuff and find some things that they enjoy with it, because man, some of the old, it's one of those things of, even the ones that we considered bad have been moved up on the scale from being total shit to not as bad as we thought. To if they were like a 3 out of 10, they're technically considered like a 5 or 6 out of 10 compared to the shit that we get nowadays. So one of these days, if I do have the time, I might really look into some of these scenes and see. I want to see other videos that people have talked about as well, because I don't want to be repeating the same stuff that everybody's talked about. But I mean, there's some things I want to say with like Fury's car, like during, like, as people are trying to get into his super souped up defensive car. There's a moment where I think it says vertical takeoff disabled or damaged or something. I don't know if a lot of people caught that, but in Agents of Shield, Coulson's car can fly. Spoilers: Coulson's in that show, because of not just, oh, he's brought back to life. They do, the whole season one is based off of essentially about how Coulson was able to be alive now, essentially. So just the FYI there, and he has a flying car, which again was something preluded to in Captain America with Howard Stark and his hover vehicle thing. So but there's possibilities for that. And if you look at Iron Man at all, he's a flying Iron Man suit. So hover car is not totally out of the question in that type of thing. So Fury was trying to fly his car out of danger, but something with it got damaged, so he wasn't able to. So that's why he had to take control and try to drive his way out. I don't know if a lot of people caught that little bit there, that was there or not. It might have gone over heads because it was saying a lot of technical jargon, essentially, for people that don't know what some of the stuff that they're even referring to in the vehicle is. There was that, and there's some good comedy in that one. Like in this little bit, he's damaged, he's injured. The car is being it continually assaulted. He's totally surrounded. It's like he's totally fucked. And he's like, does anything work? He's trying to see what functions in the car. Does anything work? Air conditioning is at full capacity. It's just like, dude, that's not hilarious humor, but that's a good type of levity, which I do like. And Fury going through his in Fury almost being killed, but like to the public being told that he is killed, I thought was a neat little thing there. In the show Agents of Shield, that does play a role as well. A lot of agents feel quite lost in what they're trying to even do anymore. Like, do they just quit? Did they join the government? Did they join the private sector? Like Agent Hill did. She joined up with Tony. Do they go to the enemy of whatever for something to have their skills applied because of this? But Fury was one of the main people to rally behind, and he was seen as dead to the majority of people. So I thought that was a neat little thing, and that's a better way for him being alive to be more covert than ever. He can really be a super duper mega spy because people don't know he's even alive, that he's even a player on the table anymore. And even though he hasn't been in that much MCU stuff, like he was in, he got snapped and then brought back and everything at Tony's funeral, is probably the last time we really saw him. Like, I feel like he could technically pop up in something in the future, but I have no idea what they would do with this character, and they'd probably ruin it as much as they can nowadays. So I don't know, go figure, right? Um, and then you get to, again, there's so many things that I do want to comment on, but I kind of want to just round out to the end fight with the helicarriers with Cap and Bucky, where he actually gets shot, and we're kind of seeing what Captain America's durability level is. He gets shot a couple of times in the torso, and he is like so damaged from that. He is quite damaged. Like if he got shot in the head, he'd probably be dead. These shots to the torso did damage him, and he was weakened. Like Bucky had to pull him out and save him essentially, and it's like he just yeah he got to his limit here as far as his like physical abilities. So I thought they did a good job with that, and that he was willing to die to save his friend, even if his friend were to kill him right there. He's not going to kill his friend, so he's like, I'm with you to the end of the line, and that was a good little emotional ending right there. A good little emotional bit. Having Natasha and them have all of Shield and Hydra's secrets to the public is quite the move. They go into that a little bit slightly in some of the other MCU films, but not that much. I think Civil War touches on it probably the most. Is in Civil War they touch on that again the most, but in Agents of Shield that is a constant factor. And at some point they try to have Shield reinstated as an actual stable thing, but that still does not really end up happening very much. And I think Sword ends up being a thing, but I don't think they mention it in the show. I actually didn't see the last season of Shield because honestly they should have probably stopped after season 3. Season 4, 5, and 6 were very silly, very, very silly. But yeah, again, I could be here all freaking day talking about different scenes in this. So I'm just gonna head that out now. I enjoyed Winter Soldier a lot, but I think on a consistency level and I don't know, there's a lot of things in it that seem very plot armor heavy, and just some things that don't necessarily add up. So on an objective level, it's hard for me to figure out where that falls to. But on an enjoyment level, that is a full on 10, man. I freaking love this film. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you later.